Hello and welcome to another episode of Plugged In from YAA. My name is Justin Fisher and today I'm joined by Mario once again. Good morning, Mario. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Doing great. Thank you.
And today our headline topic will be all about plug-in hybrids. When are plug-in hybrids a better option for you? Sometimes there's a case to be made for a plug. We both have full electric vehicles, so we're a bit biased, but we're still going to dig into the details and when it can be a great option for you. First, of course, I always love to start it off with some news. Let's see who's in the chat this morning. Justice, hello, one of our other auto experts from YAA. John, everyone's in the chat. Christopher, thank you for being here. Let's kick it off with some Dodge news. Dodge, long known for muscle cars, is aiming to debut an electric muscle car concept before August. But Dodge's boss, by the name of Tin Kuniskis, says that there's something holding them back, but he wants to keep it confidential for now. Quote, "There's one really important piece that goes with the reveal of the Dodge electric muscle car that's outside of his control, and it's outside of the industry, quite frankly. He wants the two of these things to be together when he reveals the car in August. Quote, I don't want them to be disjointed. Now, Dodge's CEO did not reveal what this mystery other object or thing or technology might be, but I'm speculating that it could be something in the realm of technology, especially within the realm of maybe self-driving or maybe new battery technology partnerships, something that they're not given the legal liberties to share yet publicly that would hopefully give them a competitive advantage over their competitors. That's what I'm thinking, but we'll see. So Dodge says by August, they're going to unveil an electric muscle car. Where I live, there are lots of Dodge Challengers. Mario, what about in California where gas prices have now hit an average of $6 per gallon? Do you see a lot of Dodge muscle cars around there?
We do see a few like every place, and I don't think that they're too concerned with gas prices. Actually, I think the mystique behind or that the buyer for that type of big and powerful straight line performance muscle cars are pretty selective group, and it'll be a challenge though, just to satisfy that market. Even for me, I'm not even a muscle car person, but I can still see that it's going to be a big challenge to overcome.
I agree. I wonder if they can make it sound good for
Yeah.
the Charger lovers. Igor in the chat says Charger, EV Charger. That's a good one, Igor. I like it. Good one. Justice says that gas is approaching $6.50 where he lives in California. That is amazing. Good morning, Susanna. Now, diving into our next news, the Genesis GV60 has been making its way into YouTube reviews, and overall, there's quite a bit of love going around for the Genesis version of the Hyundai Ioniq 5. It shares the same platform, the eGMP platform, but it will be starting at a much higher price point, around $60,000, before any dealer markups, which hopefully we can keep a lid on that, but you know how it goes. The performance version of the Genesis GV60 is getting most of the attention because of its, quite frankly, amazing specs. For $69,000, you could be looking at a 0 to 60 time of 3.4 seconds. Estimated. That's pretty fast. Top speed, they say, well, actually, I'm not quite sure what the top speed is. I was looking at the wrong stat, but overall, everyone's loving what they're seeing about the Genesis GV60. The range is forecasted to be between 235 and 248 miles, depending on trim. It does have 800-volt architecture. I'm still loving the 800-volt architecture that my Ioniq 5 has. I can't help but wonder, is this going to be one of the differentiators in residual value and how much your used EV is worth 10 years from now, whether or not the vehicle has 800-volt architecture? I'm not sure. So far, Tesla has not needed to go the 800-volt route in order to be successful. They're clearly the dominator of the market, but we'll see. Genesis is using that faster charging architecture. 10 to 80% charge time of just 18 minutes. That's fantastic. Personally, I'm not a fan at all of the styling, and I think most people will disagree with me. Mario, do you like the look of the Genesis GV60?
I do like it, but more than the look, I think with Genesis, I kind of look more into better handling, more fun performance. I think that's a step up from the platform that they're using with the EV6 and the Ionic, which are more about space and being more utilitarian. Hopefully, Genesis continues that spirit of making more performance-oriented vehicles with a little bit of luxury. So, that might be something. Yeah, it's still a high price though. 69,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah, the starting price for the Genesis GV60 is 4,000 more than the top level Ionic 5.
Yeah.
So I guess if you're gonna shell out that much cash, you better like how it looks. But for me, I know Zach, wonderful Zach. He does not like the look of the Mercedes EQS. He says it looks like a dolphin. That's just about how I feel with the GV60. But I will admit, my Ionic 5 does feel like it's one big cavernous living room. It feels like a living room inside. And I bet the GV6 is going to be more oriented towards performance and not quite, as you said, utilitarian. So let's see who else is joining us in the chat this morning. Richie Rich, good morning. Says, just sold his RAV4 Prime with a nice profit and lucked out with a black Ionic 5 Limited. That is a success story, Richie. You're very lucky to have had success with that. I've seen so many people on the online forums trying really hard to find an Ionic 5, but it's tough. You got it at MSRP too, so that's amazing. Congratulations. Enjoy your new car. Try out that fast charging. Next story. Speaking of the Ionic 5, Motional is beginning a partnership with Uber Eats to deliver food autonomously in the California region using Ionic 5s. So there are driverless Ionic 5s in California as of now, I think. I would be kind of surprised to see one. Where I live in West Virginia, I don't think any autonomous vehicle could handle the windy mountain roads. I know that the highway drive assist that the Ionic 5 has is great on the highway. It's great on the interstate. But every time I get to a curve, like a pretty significant curve, even on the interstate, it shuts off. So you have to be ready to take control on a significant curve. Hopefully in California, where the Ionic 5 is driving autonomously, their autonomous driving partners have taken that into account, because Hyundai Ioniq 5 technology on its own with HDA2, that alone can't quite handle every driving situation. And many would argue that even Tesla's self-driving technology is not there yet. So that'll be interesting. I look forward to seeing how that goes. Justice says the GV60 from Genesis looks like a CHR from Honda. Interesting. Mario disagrees, but
it looks pretty good. I think it looks really nice. I like it. This is smaller, it looks smaller. Hopefully it's more fun. I don't know.
Learning Fast in the chat says, isn't that illegal? I didn't think full autonomous without a driver was allowed to drive on the road yet. In a few states, it is legal. So I know in Arizona, there's quite a few in the Phoenix and Tucson area, and in California. I know it sounds ridiculous. It sounds ridiculous to me too, Learning Fast. It really does. But it is true. Eduardo in the chat. How do people use the tax credit in California for PHEV? Well, I'm glad you're here, Eduardo. Mario is an expert on this topic, and we will get to it in about 5 to 10 minutes. So stay tuned. Going to finish up this news first. Next, Tesla is only taking Cybertruck reservations in North America. I can't help but wonder if this is because of the impossible logistics of shipping a gigantic Cybertruck across the ocean. What do you think, Mario?
Maybe, yeah. I probably, they're just they don't want to disappoint people, and they're being more careful about their supplies and where the market that they want to target. I think the U.S. is a better market for those type of vehicles. It looks really cool, though. I think Justice is one of those reservation holders, and we kind of give him a hard time because of the delays. But I think it's going to be worth it. Even the waiting has added a little bit more features and stuff, but I think it's going to be like a big hit. It looks really nice.
Yeah, I think it will be transformative, and it will arrive in 2023, in my opinion. That's the current estimate from Elon Musk. Justice and everyone else in the chat, let us know, how many Cybertruck reservations do you think Tesla really has? They don't announce their official numbers, but analysts have estimated up to 1 million reservations for the Cybertruck. It's not even being built yet, so if you reserve one somehow in 2022, you're going to be waiting years to get one. I want to know what the viewers in the chat think about Cybertruck reservations. Personally, I don't think it could be 1 million, or maybe that million includes quite a few people who definitely can't afford a Cybertruck but wanted to get in on it early. I don't know. It's amazing to me. I look forward to seeing it on the road. My Ioniq 5, to me, that's cyber retro future vehicle. Well, I think the Cybertruck is also going to be that same vibe, and it would be awesome to be not the only one on the road with that like cyber future aesthetic going on. Learning Fast says the Cybertruck is huge. It won't fit in normal garages. Yeah, for sure. Last news story of the day. So when I lived in Texas, I saw Mercedes G-Class SUVs looking like little fancy, luxurious tanks driving around town all the time. And I knew they were expensive, but what really was a shocker to me was their fuel economy. This was back in maybe 2019, 2020. Those model year Mercedes G-Class SUVs got about 13 miles per gallon in the city, and I lived in the city. Now, Mercedes says that they will use silicon battery technology to create a Mercedes G-Class EV. That's going to be so interesting to me because I did the math right before the show. If you drive, say, 1,200 miles per month, maybe the math was 1,500 miles per month, which in Dallas-Fort Worth, where I lived, quite a few people drive that commuting to work. If you're going from a gas G-Class Mercedes to an electric vehicle G-Class, you could seriously save $350 to $400 a month going from 13 miles per gallon to just average EV efficiency, plugging in at home overnight, charging at 14 cents per kilowatt hour. You could really save $400 a month and more if you drive more than that. That is wild to me. In California, Mario, do you still see the Mercedes G-Class driving around? Is that a symbol of the California lifestyle?
It is, and it's a lifestyle vehicle, right? So it has a loyal following. It's gonna be a tough challenge. I'm kind of thinking. I was talking earlier with Igor about it, and we kind of agree that they're jumping, the gun pretty quickly because there's so many other vehicles that from their Mercedes line that still haven't been electrified, and we haven't seen anything GLE, GLS, and they're now talking about the G-Wagon, which is going to be the last one. So even if it comes to market, it's going to be after we see more models being announced that are electrified from Mercedes. I still think that it's not the best decision because it's a very loyal brand, and let's see if they can make it that technology that they're putting such revolutionary. So hopefully it adds some innovation, not just savings. We need to see something else in there.
Yeah, and admittedly, I do care about emissions and fuel economy and things like that. And before you start telling me, everyone, that mining for battery minerals is bad for the environment, yeah, I know it is. And hopefully we find ways to make that better for the environment. But still, when it comes to tailpipe emissions, I was just amazed at how many people were driving these Mercedes G-Class around Dallas-Fort Worth getting 13 miles per gallon. Yeah. So there's also the cost of fuel, right? How much money's coming out of your wallet. But I mean, that's like big rig truck fuel economy. That's horrible.
Yeah. But if it's a $200,000 truck, I don't think they're too concerned about $100 fill up.
Yeah.
But it's like you say, the new millennials might have a different mindset also. So they might be looking at future adopters, what they feel about, what you're saying, being concerned about the environment and all of those issues that are really important to the market.
Yes, and the Mercedes EQS has been doing quite well. If only they could make more. I know that Mercedes is particularly affected by the Ukraine crisis because quite a few of their suppliers are located in Russia or Ukraine, along with BMW, Volkswagen Group. They've been hit pretty hard. But Mercedes does also build vehicles in the United States, and it'll be interesting to see how they electrify those production lines in the years to come. The EQS is able to get about 350 miles of range, according to the EPA, with the higher level trims, and that's amazing to me. I sat in one whenever I was visiting DC, and it's an amazing, luxurious vehicle. Definitely outside of my price range. We've got another special guest in the chat. Phil has joined us. Hello,
Hey,
Phil. So we've got an auto advocate hangout here today on Plugged In. Thank you for joining us, Phil, and thank you for all that you, Mario, and Justice do for the YAA community. And make sure and hit that like button if you haven't subscribed. Pretty please subscribe. Shall we talk plug-in hybrids?
yeah, let's go. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so Mario, in 2022, I was seriously considering a plug-in hybrid because there are only 2 DC fast chargers within 75 miles of my house. Why did I go with an EV? Because I'm an EV nerd. I just see the infrastructure coming. I love my car. I don't regret it at all. But for many in my region and for much of the country, a plug-in hybrid might make sense if the EV infrastructure for charging isn't quite there yet, or if perhaps the availability is greater on the lot. Maybe I'm wrong. Can you fill us in, Mario, first with just what is a plug-in hybrid, also known as a PHEV?
Well, it's the best of, hopefully, well, Smart gets the best of both worlds, the EV and the hybrid, powertrains. So with the EV, you get the good parts of having an electric vehicle, which is instant torque, having very good performance on straight line. But on the hybrid powertrain, well, you get that tried and true efficiency that we've had for many years, that it's already been refined, that there is no noticeable transition between one of the other. So you have this without going full EV, the commitment. I think you get a little bit of the pluses, but also get the efficiency on the other side. But it's kind of like from my point of view is you have to fit in a very specific use case to maximize the benefits of a plug-in against a hybrid, which is significantly cheaper, right, than the PHEV versions. But yeah, we can talk about the specific models that are out there, what we see with our members in the community, because we do see this the PHEVs are one of the hottest and more in demand units that we see with people purchasing SUVs right now in the market. So yeah, we can talk about that more.
So plug-in hybrids typically get between 15 and 40 miles of all electric range if you plug it in, right? And then after that, do they become just essentially hybrids?
Yeah, it'll switch over to the hybrid powertrain and also charge the battery while it's doing it. But yeah, I mean, when you get an EV vehicle or get into like the prime, people always say, it's really smooth, and the acceleration it's really consistent, it's really quick, and have the acceleration, have it really instant. But when you want to go long range, that's the issue, range anxiety, right? So that's one of the major hurdles, I guess, that the EV market has for adoption. People who don't have like chargers, like in your case, which might be concerned about not having the range needed for their use or for their trips, so they kind of hold back. But with a plug-in hybrid, you have the best of both worlds, right? So you can have that really nice driving feel, for the first 20 miles or 25 miles or 30 miles, depending on the capacity. And then you'll have that additional range, probably like a little bit sluggish or not as good performance because it's optimized to recharge the battery and function, but you'll still be able to use the vehicle pretty well, going forward without having to worry about charging.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk more about that in a moment. I want to address a great comment in the chat real quick from Susanna, just because this is a personal interest of mine. Susanna says, what has stumped me is that my local electric company uses fossil fuel for electricity. Most do. In fact, in the United States, about 40 to 50% of electricity is from fossil fuels. We've got a surprising amount of hydropower, solar, and wind energy. But what I want to say, Susanna, is that electric motors are by nature, by the engineering of the electric motor, far more efficient than combustion engines. So even if your electric company gets almost all of their electricity from fossil fuel generation, it's still better for the environment when you look at a per unit of energy basis. That's why, according to science, 33 kilowatt hours of electricity is equal to about 1 gallon of gasoline. So to drive 250 miles in my Ioniq 5, it's really equivalent to about 2.5 gallons of gasoline. That's much better than I had in my previous ICE vehicle. So I just wanted to address that comment. Good point, Susanna. And shifting gears back to plug-in hybrids. Thank you for allowing me to divert from course real quick. I want to talk about overall range with a plug-in hybrid because in my Ioniq 5, like 250 miles, in a Tesla, you can supposedly get over 300 miles. We're seeing quite a few luxury options coming in well over 300 miles, including the Lucid Air at a 500-mile range. With a plug-in hybrid, after you use your electric range, about how far can you go with the rest of the hybrid powertrain? Is it like a regular ICE vehicle? Can you go 3, 4, 500 miles?
What I've seen is that I purchased at least Jeep Wrangler 4xe last year, and the gas tank's really small. So it's not the same range. So it could be, as the normal probably has a couple hundred more miles. So, but it's just barely enough. It has to do with regulations, I'm pretty sure. But no, so basically you have enough range to probably get where you want to go, but it's not going to be a trip vehicle. You can do 300, 400 miles at once.
For a plug-in hybrid?
Yeah, on a plug-in hybrid. Yeah, because of the gas tank, it's not so big.
I'm going to do some research while we continue this discussion because
Yeah.
I've heard, maybe I'm wrong, that the RAV4 Prime, which is probably the most popular plug-in hybrid right now, I've heard it can go really, really far on a tank of gas, even after the 40 miles of electric range is used up. So we're going to find out because that's intriguing to me.
It just depends on the gas tank, and I like from personal experience, I was kind of looking at it like, well, who is buying this car, like the 4xe? But since that really targeted to someone who has short trips or who is not so much as a vehicle to have a trip on it. So yeah, I can see some other vehicles having that additional range built in.
Holy smokes, you guys. Oh my gosh. You know what Consumer Reports found? This is amazing. Consumer Reports found that in a test of the RAV4 Prime, they went 800 miles without any gas, without adding any gas. So going to the gas station. That's almost hard to believe. 800 miles. So it looks like it's rated for about 600 miles on a tank of gas. That's fascinating to me. Wow, I wonder what the physics is with that. I guess you're recharging the battery all the time, and
it is also really efficient. The Prime is way, way, way more efficient than other vehicles in the market that compete. Sometimes even if you can get like consumption, it's almost like half. So they have that hybrid powertrain that we mentioned. It's really, really way beyond the competitors in efficiency wise.
All right, now an important question for everyone. Are plug-in hybrids more affordable than fully electric vehicles in 2022?
Well, that's a big question because if there's some vehicles that are plug-in with the markups that we're seeing right now, that are kind of close. That's my biggest problem with plug-in hybrids right now. Just that for the additional $10,000 that they go sometimes over the hybrid, normal hybrid versions, you're getting like too close to electric, but not getting the full benefit. So if that's something that you need to take into account, do the math. A lot of people don't do that, Justin. They just think that plug-in hybrid equals saving gas, and that's going to be it. But there's also a higher upfront cost that you need to consider. And for example, the Prime is a good example, right? So because you'll see those in the market right now, they can approach $51,000, right? Sometimes a little bit more. And the normal hybrid, if you take like a hybrid LE, that's a $31,000 vehicle, right? $32,000 vehicle. So there could be $10,000, $15,000 of difference. And what are you going to get for it, right? Are you going to recover that large investment in 10 years or in 12 years? That's a big question that you need to sit down and work the numbers and see if in your case, in your use, the way that you use the vehicle every single day, does it fit the actual use of the plug-in hybrid.
I just checked out YAA Car Search to see what prices for the RAV4 Prime are running right now, and up to $60,000 for a RAV4 Prime.
Yeah.
You're not going to make up for the additional expense for like 10 years unless you drive a lot. That's amazing to me. So that's a very good point, Mario.
Mhm. Actually, I compared the when I was looking at, I was always been interested in the Prime and the other vehicle. And actually, the hybrid helping members actually select which vehicle, because I've always that's the number one question to me. What's the difference and what are the benefits, right? So I've run the numbers and I've done the whole total cost of ownership analysis, and it takes 10 years sometimes to recover, like 10, 11 years to recover that 10,000 or 5,000 or 7,000, and based on what your gas costs are and your electricity costs. Also, that's really important. So you need to sit down, and it's very different if it's 11 cents than in California. You might have some places where it's 20 cents or 24 cents a kilowatt. So it adds up really quickly. And also, if you just use your vehicle 7,000 miles or 8,000 miles a year, it's just not going to be the return is not going to be there really quickly. But those of us who drive 15, 20,000 miles, I can see some value, getting that money back quick.
Is the resale value of a plug-in hybrid likely to be higher than an ICE vehicle, would you say, using your crystal ball 5, 10 years?
No, it is. It is, and the residuals show it. They're significantly higher than the normal hybrid and the ICE vehicles. And I think what's helping is that there's more of them out there. So it used to be that since they weren't out there, we didn't know. Like you mentioned earlier, if we get a new version that gets double the range, what's going to happen to resale value? Well, we didn't know. It was something that didn't happen before so quickly. But now we kind of have a handle, and the valuation companies have a handle on it, and they see that hybrid vehicles like the Prime, they'll probably hold their value better than any other vehicle right now out there. As you saw, right? The person, the member who mentioned, he sold it for above his cost. That's not uncommon. That's pretty. You hear that every now and then. But so I expect that shortage is going to continue on the Prime, for example, and the resale value is going to be high because of supply that's going to be really tight.
Now we have a few people in the chat saying they've seen RAV4 Primes selling for $70,000 to $100,000. This is making me feel very thankful for getting my Ioniq 5 all-wheel drive limited for $56,000. Very thankful for that. Wow. Yeah, don't go out there and buy a RAV4 Prime for $100,000. Please don't do that. It would not be a good financial decision. All right. So I wanted to also talk about maintenance. Now, my thinking goes that because they have a combustion and battery hybrid powertrain combined together, that there may be more maintenance needed. Do you know if that's true?
Well, I think there are concerns you need to take care of because you're not using the engine as much. It's not so much about the maintenance, the traditional maintenance about oil changes, and that's a normal vehicle is going to require. That has an engine, a gas engine. It's going to require maintenance, right? But there are issues, especially some people who use plug-in hybrids and they never use the engine. For example, they just go to the store, go to school, and come back and forth and recharge, and they're like 100% EV mode. So you have to consider that the engine is cold, and that you need to the fuel system. You need to consider that because the gasoline could get stale, in the gas tank. We've seen that happen. We always hear it. So there are issues about maintenance that you need to take care of beyond the traditional gasoline engine. What we see. But otherwise, it's just a hybrid. It's a hybrid with some batteries on it. So it's a traditional maintenance. I don't think it's going to require anything more than the other hybrids out there.
Do plug-in hybrids qualify for the full tax credit and other incentives that you're aware of, especially in your state of California, or is it a partial incentive for plug-in hybrids?
Yeah, and that's the driver, I think, between for the whole shortage that we have, or the demand that we have on those PHEVs, is that they have the full credit, federal tax credit available to them. So, for example, the Prime, that's why people drive the price up, is because they know that $7,500 are going to be available for them. So even though it might be $45,000, they're willing to do $50,000 because they know they'll offset part of the cost. It's a big issue with the Sorento, a big issue with the other the Hyundais, the Kias. That's what I see. If you give money to people, they'll go and buy a vehicle. They'll go and get it. And yeah, and to answer the question of earlier about how do you apply it, those are filed with your return, right? So you have to have liability taxes, liability, If not, then it's not gonna be a full 7,500. You're gonna be as much as the tax liability you would have on your taxes. That's another big topic I think that we need to probably look into the future about how credits are applied on a tax return, because there are priorities. There are other credits we have priorities. So it's a more complicated issue than some people think. Some people think they're going to get their money back when they file the taxes. That's not the case. But yeah, so most of them will do apply from what I'm looking. Most of them really, from the plug-in hybrids, some of them do qualify for lease, getting that lease credit back, but not all of them.
Now, Eduardo in the chat was wondering if you could use the 7,500 federal tax credit to lower your monthly bill. I'm assuming you mean lower your monthly car payment?
Yeah.
Now, Mario, when it comes to plug-in hybrids, is it the full amount, and are we applying it to the whole bottom line when you're making the purchase or signing the lease? Or I know you just went over this, but could you refresh this for Eduardo?
You're not gonna. It's not a rebate that's applied at the point of purchase. That's not it. It's a credit that you applied when you file your tax return, and that you offset your tax liabilities against it. But there are rules, like in anything with taxes and the IRS, there are rules on how you apply it. And you need to see your own personal case, what kind of credits you're applying besides the EV credit that might have priority. And that you need to see how much of that 7,500 will likely apply to you in the next tax year. So there are rebates in your state that will deduct the cost of the vehicle at the point of purchase, or as a rebate that you get after purchase. In California, we have the CBRP and we have the Clean Air rebate. Those you apply after you lease the car or you purchase the car, and you'll get a check in the mail from the state, which you can cash and just apply to when you make a payment or whatever, you just apply it. But yeah, so you have these two differences: the state and the federal. There are different type of applications that you use.
So educational technology in the chat. Let us know what vehicles you are considering, because it really matters if you can. It depends on the model that you're considering, if you can apply it to a lease for an electric or plug-in vehicle. I know that the Hyundai Ioniq 5, right, Mario? The tax credit incentive does not apply. Hyundai just keeps it, right? Are there any other popular EVs that the automaker just keeps the incentive and you never see the benefit of it?
Most of them. That right now in this market, there's no incentive to pass that credit on. So people buy PHEVs, but some do. Some do. For example, like I mentioned, the 4xe from anything that's from Chrysler, they do pass on the credit if it's a Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe or the Wrangler 4xe or the Pacifica hybrid. They do pass on the credit, but besides a very short list of lending companies, no one is doing that right now for leases,
including for the Sorento plug-in.
No, the Sorento, you have to buy it, Or right now, what's really in style is these balloon financing type of instruments, so you can claim the credit when it's not being passed through on a lease. Well, you still keep those low payments, but that's another topic which is gathering momentum, actually, with the Ioniq, Justin, because they don't pass the credit. Hyundai Motors is not passing. Hyundai Finance is not passing the credit. So there are other instruments where you can use to actually keep your payments low and apply the credit, like balloon financing, which I think is going to be more popular going down the road, especially with high prices of vehicles.
Wow, we might have to have a show about that pretty soon.
Really interesting.
So we're going to wrap up the show by talking about 3 to 5 plug-in hybrids that you think are a solid deal for consumers to consider right now. What are the best plug-in hybrids? Even if you personally don't see the use case, I don't either. I like full EVs.
Yeah.
But if you were to recommend plug-in hybrids, what are 3 to 5 that you'd recommend?
Well, it's difficult to say what's the best. If you tell me about.
Let's say financially.
Oh, okay. So I think right now the best value that you're gonna get is, like I mentioned, no one knows about it, but getting a Jeep Wrangler Sahara Unlimited 4xe plug-in hybrid. That's gonna be a $60,000 vehicle that you can probably lease in the 400s. really easily. Just have to wait until you get it delivered. Probably the Jeep Grand Cherokee could be also in the same the 4xe, but it's still delayed until June or July. You will not be able to find right now a deal on PHVs. It's the most in-demand vehicle that I'm seeing on the forum that people cannot get. Like the Sorento, for example, I think it's a good value for 43,000 or 40,000. I think it's or 46,000, I guess. It offers a lot, but it serves nothing because you're not gonna get one in years. No one's been getting the Sorento PHEV. I've only seen one or two in the forum, and researching online. There's people that have been waiting since January, and it's now May, and they're telling them it's gonna be probably 3 more months. So it's really good values in the market, like I mentioned, like anything that's from Hyundai or Kia. The issue is just availability. There's no right now.
What about what's behind me? The Volvo XC40 Recharge plug-in version. There's also a fully electric version. Have you heard anything about the XC40 Recharge?
That's a more niche market, and probably not in the value segment right now.
Yeah, I think it starts over 60,000.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Even the ICE versions of the XC40, you don't see those on the lot. It's really, really impossible to find those. So you can imagine those EV or hybrid versions or plug-in hybrid versions. They're non-existent right now. But that's the thing right now that I see a lot of Sorentos, a lot of Primes. I think Primes you can still get on the northeast area of the U.S. You forget about on the West Coast. We have 7 months to a year waitlist. Longo has a 700 waitlist for the Prime. So you're not gonna get in a year, probably 18 months, any allocation, on the West Coast. But there's some cities where you can actually get still Primes. I'm hearing a lot of members being successful in Pennsylvania and in the states, in northeastern states, where there's still allocations that are not in super high demand. I imagine that because of the market and the gas prices have a lot to play for demand. And units like the Sorento and the Hyundais, you have to do factory order. I know that people are factory order them, not in California or in Arizona, where it's in super high demand, but in other states like Colorado and central states, where your dealers are willing to place a factory order at MSRP. So I think those might be good deals still, if you can get MSRP without any kind of markups or add-ons.
So now I'm going to share the 3 most affordable plug-in hybrids based on MSRP. So we're not talking factoring in dealer markups because that can go to the moon. But after we talk about what the 3 most affordable plug-in hybrids are, I've got the list right here, Mario. I want you to let me know which one would be best out of those 3 based on the financial aspect and any technical aspects that you know of, just which one's the best, and then we'll call it a day. Number 1, the most affordable, is the Hyundai Ioniq, not Ioniq 5, the original Ioniq plug-in hybrid. It has a starting MSRP of $27,000. That's affordable if you can find it at that price. Next up on the list is the 2022 Toyota Prius Prime, starting at $28,000. You can get 25 miles of all-electric range and a full range, including the combustion engine or the hybrid powertrain, of 640 miles with the Prius Prime. That's amazing for road trippers. Third on the list, 2022 Kia Niro plug-in hybrid, starting at about $30,000, 26 miles of all-electric range, and a total range of 560 miles. And the number 1, the Ioniq 5 that we already talked about, I'm sorry, not the Ioniq 5, the original Ioniq. It's far less cool looking. It has an electric range of 29 miles and a total range of 620 miles. So I wanted to make sure to include that. Ioniq, Prius Prime, and Niro plug-in hybrid. Out of those 3, Mario, which one would you say is best?
I'll go with the Prius Prime just because of the powertrain, with Toyota. Solid, well tried and tested, and resale value. It's going to be really good.
Yeah, Toyota has been really slow to get in the fully electric, battery electric vehicle game. They're bringing the BZ4X to market this year with a paltry 227-mile range and very slow charging, but they are known for the best hybrid powertrains. At least I guess that's arguable, but they've got skin in the game when it comes to hybrid powertrains, and they've been able to tie in plug-in hybrids to that as well. Wonderful discussion today, Mario. Thank you so much for being here. Hopefully, we'll have you back next week. And Friday, I think we're going to have Justice on the show. Maybe Justice and I will talk about home charging and all you need to know about home charging an electric vehicle affordably. Mario, any concluding words for the viewers?
No, there's some great information on the EPA website to estimate how much savings can you get between a hybrid and a plug-in hybrid. I think those are really awesome tools, really configurable, and they can help you a lot to make the right decision financially. I think that's one of the best recommendations I'm giving members right now, to sit down and run the numbers, real numbers based on your fuel cost and your electricity cost, your daily commute, how many miles are your city, freeway, stop and go traffic, and you'll get like a really good overview of what the return is going to be. So just go to the EPA website and you're going to find like 3 calculators in there that are pretty awesome.
Today's been a great hangout with the YAA Auto Advocates, myself, Mario, Justice, and Phil. We're always on the YAA community forum interacting with all of our members. Please be sure to head over there. I'd love to talk EVs, plug-in hybrids, regular hybrids, or even combustion-powered cars with you. So please head over to the YAA community forum. We can help you find the car that you're looking for at the best price possible. And we can make sure that your ownership experience is full of knowledge and empowerment. Look forward to seeing you guys on Friday. Everyone have a beautiful Wednesday. Thank you so much, Mario, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, definitely. See you. Thank you. Bye.